All right, so producer Tracy, there you are. It's right before the show. You are sitting in a dressing room waiting for Joe McIntyre at this point? It's just, paint the whole picture. You're alone.
Yeah, no, it was an empty dressing room. And, there was nothing in there but a table and 2 chairs and our microphones. And I was just pacing back and forth. There was two doors in the room, and I didn't know which one he was going to be coming in through. So nervous. I don't think I've ever been that nervous. From the moment he said, yes, you can talk to Joe walking in. Yeah, I was frantic. And then Joe walked right in, and he just filled up the room. And he looked right at me, walked right towards me. A couple other people followed him in at first, and he came right to me and, gave me a hug and was just awesome. I was still nervous up until I managed to get out the first sentence, with a microphone in front of me. And once I was able to do that, I kind of calmed down a bit.
Then maybe professional Tracy kicked in.
And he definitely carried it because he wasn't the kind of person that gave you a one-word answer. He talked long enough for me to figure out what my next question was.
And was he? And did he remember the whole Los Angeles stuff and all that?
I didn't even ask him that. I assume so because when they were in the hallway, they seemed to recognize me. They seemed to acknowledge who I was. So by that point, I totally didn't even think to ask.
Because you're old friends. You don't need to. Yeah. What are you going to talk about? Of course they did.
Microphone, man. I just wanted to sit down and hang out with you. So live this for other women. What was he wearing? What did he smell like? How did he hug you? Did he pat you? Did he bring you in close?
He was wearing jeans, and they were just tight enough. And tennis shoes and a white T-shirt. I think, from what I remember, it was a white T-shirt and a leather jacket, and then this leather type, the kind of hats that people used to wear in the old days, the driving hats kind of thing.
Driving Miss Daisy caps?
I guess so.
I know. You like an old school cab driver would wear.
Yeah, kind of something like that. He was wearing that, and it looked so good. And he was not freshly shaven, so he had that little scruffy thing going on, which just made him so much sexier. He just looked so good. Oh, he just looks so good.
So you're reliving it over and over again in our mind.
Yeah, and he gave me a hug, and he smelled clean and crisp. And then when we went to go take a picture after the interview, he put his arm around me and pulled me close. It wasn't just arm around me with 2 inches, full body, my whole side of my body was right up against Joe McIntyre's entire side of his body. And then I wasn't quite sure if the picture was going to be perfect enough. So when Frankie showed me the picture that he had taken, he didn't pull away. He didn't, separate himself from me for me to acknowledge, look at the picture and say that was okay. He was still holding on to me until I said the picture was okay. And at that point, I'm like, you know what? The picture's not okay. Take another one because I want a few more seconds. Good.
That's awesome.
Good job. Hey, pretend the camera's not working for 7 minutes. You can't figure it out. All right, so this is producer Tracy sitting down with Joey McIntyre.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I have to tell you right off the bat, and I know you hear this all the time, but you were my favorite new kid.
Awesome.
And I know you get that all the time.
You have great taste.
And welcome to Atlanta.
Thank you. Good to be back.
When was the last time you were here?
Recording the album. We did a couple of tracks down here, actually.
Did you?
With Brian Michael Cox. They didn't, unfortunately, make the record because of the last minute, this, that, and the other thing. But actually,
right.
Brian Michael Cox was very, very supportive and early on in this making of the album. So,
do you think maybe there'll be another album that they might make it to?
Maybe. I'm sure if there is, we'll probably make more music, and hopefully we'll be lucky enough to make more music with Brian Michael Cox. So, it's all good.
Very cool. Congratulations on the success of the tour.
Yeah.
That's awesome. When you guys started doing this, were you expecting to do a sold-out arena tour? Or?
No. No. You just... from day one, I think we were very sort of methodical in our approach. And that was, let's take this one step at a time. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. When we went into the studio making music, we didn't have deadlines, we didn't have contracts, and we just wanted to get comfortable with each other again. We'll always be friends, but, to start to work again with each other was, something to get used to. Luckily it happened, we were fast friends once again and having a lot of laughs and making music that we were excited about. So that's all we did, it was one thing,
No expectations.
No expectations, and fortunately, no matter how much hard work you put into it, when you have fans like ours, it makes it seem pretty easy. The more love they give us, the harder we want to work and just make something special for everybody.
Right. Speaking of being friends, were you guys able to keep in touch over the last 15 years?
Me and Donnie did a lot. I mean, we both live out in LA, so
Right.
we kept in touch a lot, and we've always, we'd have, have lunch every once in a while and talk and shoot the breeze about whatever. And Jordan and John came to my wedding, and I'd see Danny here and there, but he was in Miami, so
Right.
I would see him the least. It was one of those things. What we went through back in the day was something that there's a bond there,
Right.
And I think the good thing is that we walked away knowing that each other's respect and admiration was most important. And I think that's the reason why we're here today.
Right.
That we didn't fight over silly things, and we didn't sell each other out. And it's nice that years after we can kind of celebrate that.
Right. Was there ever any talks before now as to maybe a reunion from several years ago, or was this the first chance that it actually came up?
Donnie's just just texted me.
Oh.
So
Tell him I said
from
hi.
Donnie on a text.
Hi.
Sorry, what did you say?
Was there ever any talks of reuniting before this?
There was talks from other people. There was always other people getting us together. There was MTV, there was VH1, there were producers and managers that would come to us saying, we can get you X amount of dollars for this amount of dates, and VH1 like, we'll get you together, and then the next day we'll bring your fans in, and it was just, the best way to put that is sweet. That's really sweet that they would think that would happen, and it would always come up. But we knew if we were going to do it, it would have to be with music, so
Right.
we would feel good about it, and we would be motivated, and we would be excited about it. So that's a process. And then, but that was a while ago. But then once we started getting serious about it and talking a little bit more and saying, all right, if the time feels right now, and Donnie was definitely wanted to get back in the studio, and so we all love making music. So it was kind of seemed like the logical first step.
Now, are you hoping that this is more of a permanent thing, or is this just a one-time, let's do the album and the tour, and I'll go back, Donnie goes back to acting, and you go back to doing some of your acting?
Yeah. I think it's exciting, and it's sort of hard when you have the reaction right now. It's like, it's really about the fans, and it
Right.
seems like the fans, we planned on giving him an amazing show. So many fans say, you were my first concert. And that's important, you know what I mean?
Right.
Everybody remembers their first concert. So we wanted to up the ante, you know what I mean? We wanted to give them a great show. And I think so far the fans feel like it's, the best show of their life. In saying that and feeling that and getting that response, you sort of feel like they're not going to let you go away so fast, you know?
So if the fans stay, you guys might be...
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of that vibe. And I feel like because we're older now, because everybody, we're older, we're mature, the more mature, barely, but a little bit more mature, and the fans are more mature. It's not like, oh, are you going to grow out of it? It's sort of like we're friends in a different way. That's my roundabout answer of saying
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's a good maybe. It's a good maybe. We got a lot of work to do, though. I mean, we're going to be doing this for almost another year. You know what I mean? There's some plans, that are sort of in the mix. So.
Very cool. How is fame different now than it was 15 years ago? Because right now you've got the internet, you've got the message boards, you've got the gossip blogs, and the paparazzi has just exploded. Is that a new challenge for you?
It is. Blogs are funny because, like, for instance, I said something about, I don't know where I said it, but I said something like about Toronto that, like, it was just a warm up. It was just a preview. You know what I mean? Now, anybody who knows me at all or knows us or was around, like, to kick off the tour with like 3 sold out shows in Toronto, like, you can't even express, that opening night, the love and just like the excitement and, coming off that stage, you felt like you were floating, you know what I mean? Right. So I know that. I'm secure in that, you know what I mean? And I know 99% of the people know that. But, but if it starts with one fan saying he said that we were a warm up, and then the blog after goes blog, and then it becomes this thing, and then sometimes it's easy to laugh it off, and you're like, hey, whatever, I'm not going to pay attention to that. You know what I mean? Because then you throw another log on the fire and it becomes a bigger thing. Finally, I wrote a blog, and I was just like, that's not true. You know, sometimes you have to answer that stuff because you never know.
So you guys do read your message boards. Do you know what people are saying? And
oh yeah, no, we always do. I mean, you know, we'll write blogs. You'll scroll down and see responses and stuff like that. I mean, sometimes it is hard. Honestly, it is hard because they
speculate and gossip.
Speculate and gossip, and everybody uses the internet. You know what I mean? So who are you reaching out to? And everything has its fringe, you know, and those fringe people get a little excited about things. But I think it's the nature of the internet and blogging and all that stuff is that sometimes you have to address that stuff.
Right.
But for the most part, I really believe that our fans just want to come out and have a good time. You know what I'm saying? And they check out the website, but they check out our blog, and a lot of them might not respond, but they might or whatever. But there's like, we love our website. We love doing like NKTV, which, you know, we do video blogs that we have this camera that when you record it, it says send now.
And it just posts automatically.
Yeah, you can't edit it or anything like that.
That caused a bit of hysteria because you guys posted the one with Jordan's ankle, and we started getting phone calls at the radio station that the tour or that the Atlanta date was going to be canceled. People started freaking out.
Well, we figured the fact that it was obvious that he did the Madison Square Garden show, like, you know, an hour later, and there was no mention of it. We thought that was enough. But you're right. That was us being mischievous and just having fun with the camera, and then someone pressed send.
And then hysteria breaks out.
Jordan is absolutely fine. And
good.
Yeah.
Well, I want a little bit of backstage scoop. I want to know what the difference is between backstage at a New Kids on the Block concert now versus back in 1991. Because I'm imagining you guys probably backstage weren't as squeaky clean as maybe your image.
Well, there's a few single guys in the group, so I mean, you know.
So it's still just as crazy.
You know, it's not.
Could be
and
crazier
the fans
because
are
your
older
fans
now.
are older
the
now.
fans
and
are
legal.
older now. You know, as a married guy, all I can do is look, and it is enjoyable to see how, you know, the fans have grown up and they're pretty as you can see. You're not a little girl anymore. You're a grown woman, and you know, so it's much more enjoyable as a man to sing to adult women instead of little 5-year-old girls, you know what I mean? So that's
we weren't 5, we were 12.
12, exactly. There was some young bands back then. No, I'm sorry. I know.
No, my sister was 5.
It was cool, but the thing, I was 16 at the time, so it was all good. It wasn't, you know. You'd have to ask the single guys. I'm just hanging out.
You're here with your family.
Yeah, which is amazing. It's the best, and
congratulations
it's fun.
on that too. You have a new son.
Thank you. Yeah, well, he's 11 months,
and
just took his first steps last week, so he's, you know, running around, and, you know, it's crazy. I mean, not by himself running around. We're holding him, but he's, like, leading us along, and it's the best. It's the best in the world. I mean, Monday I played, you know, Madison Square Garden, which is, you know, arguably the best venue to play in the world. But I went to the zoo that day, and, you know, Central Park, and it sounds corny and weird, but, I mean, that was...
Sweet family
I said to my
day.
son, I'm like, but that was better. Like, he stole my thunder. Like, going to the zoo with my son in Central Park, you know, was better than playing Madison Square Garden. I really feel like I have the best of both worlds. And, you know, I have an amazing wife, and the fans are great to her, and she really has a great sense of it. You know what I mean? And I think she has a great way of just hanging out and being a part of it. And it's fun, you know? You know, the fantasy's different now for girls now that are married. You know what I mean? What's so funny is that the fantasy changes a little bit, you know?
Well, I think when we were 12, we all assumed that it really would happen one day. We would marry our favorite new kid on the block. And now we might still fantasize about it, but we're not truly expecting it to happen.
Right. But the fantasy's alive a little bit more if that new kid is single.
And speaking of them, because they're not here, so you have to answer for them, would they ever date a fan?
Oh yeah, Donnie's the kissing bandit, man. He doesn't shake hands or hug. He kisses fans.
Wow.
So
what do those fans have to do to get that?
Just
show up.
Yeah. Give me a kiss. He'll do it.
Awesome. Well, congratulations so far on everything.
Thank you.
And what about the new album? The new album obviously available for download on iTunes right now, right?
Yep, and it's out in the stores, the block, and it's something we're really proud of. And I think it's gotten great reviews, and people are digging it. And when we play the new stuff in the concerts, the fans are loving it, and it's exciting.
Do you have a favorite on the new album?
I love Single. I mean, I love our single now, and I just think it's amazing. And I think Neo is a classic writer, and
also from Atlanta.
Yeah. Oh, is he really? I didn't know that. I should know that, but I didn't know that. I just think it's a great song. I think it's old school. You know what I mean? It's just like, just for this dance. Like, for instance, I can sing that with an open heart. Even though sometimes you're playing a role, but like, just for this dance, I'm going to be your boyfriend. You know what I mean? And that, it's got an old school gentlemanly quality. And I know Neo is a lot like that. And I think, we saw that, and it just feels right. It's a great song. So.
Well, it's a great album. I mean, honestly, we didn't know what to expect with New Kids on the Block coming out with an album in 2008, and everybody at the radio station, all my friends too, were very impressed with it. So it's great.
Cool.
Great album. And what about old songs? Do you have a favorite classic New Kids song?
I don't know. I always seem to like, when in the concert, when Jordan sings "I'll Be Loving You Forever," I think that's a classic, beautiful song. I mean, I've always been proud that I was able to sing "Please Don't Go Girl." I think that's another great song, and we have a lot of up tempos that the fans love. I mean, I've always been partial to Cover Girl personally, but
I like Cover Girl.
Yeah, it's good. It's good in the show too. He does a great rendition of it.
Well, good luck, and thank you so much on behalf of everybody in Atlanta for coming back.
Thank
We're so
you.
Thrilled.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Joe McIntyre on Burt Show on all the hits Q100.